Do you like catching movies in the theaters? Check out MoviePass, where you can see a movie every single day for as low as $30 a month. And IAYTD has the hookup, where you can click the link in the description box below to try MoviePass for 2 weeks before committing to it. Only available in the United States currently, but check out the website for a full list of participating movie theaters near you. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. Today we're going to really quickly cover something that I've been thinking about, and that's the X-Men cinematic universe, with Apocalypse coming out and some other spin-off TV shows announced, and Deadpool's coming out. There's a lot happening, and I've been thinking about what could be next. So here in this video, I'm going to quickly shoot you 5 ideas for spin-offs or solo movies that could happen after kind of this opening of the X-Men cinematic universe. So number 1 is probably the most obvious one and the one that most people want, and that is Storm. Storm's story is just ripe with potential. Either you could go the route of an origin story, depending on how much they show in Apocalypse. You could go the route of her growing up, becoming a thief. There's a lot that she does in Africa as a youngster when she explores her powers. Or you could go the route of her kind of in the present becoming the queen of, it probably can't be Wakanda because of the rights issues, but becoming kind of African royalty. That would be fascinating. You could also go the route of her, maybe after she's an X-Man, becoming the Queen of the Morlocks, which is a really interesting story where she fights kind of the prior ruler, Callisto, and defeats her, and now has to kind of take this disenfranchised group of people, mutants, living in the sewers, and give them hope again, which could be a really cool story. And knowing that Caliban, one of the Morlocks, is appearing in X-Men Apocalypse, that could be a really great segue into their subterranean culture. So there's a lot of possibilities there. So Storm is the first one that would be an easy choice. For number 2, I'm going to go an option that's not as well known, and that is Longshot. Longshot is a mutant who exists kind of in another, I want to say it's another planet, that is run by a mutant named Mojo. And Mojo runs this entertainment network and broadcasts basically gladiator battles and fights and murders and everything, and kind of televises them as this kind of ramped up version of reality TV, which I think is really poignant now. So it'd be cool to see a movie that saw this gladiator world and then the hero that manages to kind of usurp the leader and maybe escape to Earth. So Longshot would be a really cool spin-off movie. And number 3, I'm going to go with another one that might be a little obvious and one that is hopefully going to happen, and that is Cable. Ryan Reynolds has already said that he'd love to see Cable and Deadpool team up, either in an X-Force movie or in a sequel to Deadpool. But Cable there's tons of stories you could do with Cable. He time travels, so he could go anywhere, do anything, kind of this Terminator-style story where he goes back and has to change the future, something like that. There's also the story of him rescuing Hope Summers and then raising her in another time. So it probably wouldn't be the exact story, but something where a child that has a cure of some sort or is immune to something, kind of an easier to understand twist on the story, where he has to raise and protect this child in some sort of dangerous circumstance. So they could do something like that and give Cable kind of a standalone solo movie. And number 4, I'm going to go with Colossus. I think Colossus has been vastly underused in the X-Men movies, and I'm hoping that in Deadpool he really gets his chance to shine. And if so, we might see a sequel or a spin-off or something about him. So I'd love to see maybe the origin story of him in Russia. We've yet to see a Russian Colossus. I mean, the actor in X-Men 1, 2, and 3, he was not Russian, he was just a bigger guy. That's really it. Everything else about Colossus was kind of stripped away. So I'd love to see him growing up in Russia with his sister Ilyana, maybe touch on her legacy virus and that struggle. We could mix in the Russian villain Omega Red. That could be really interesting because that's a villain we've never seen. So instead of retreading villains that have already been on the big screen, it'd be cool to get in someone new. So a Colossus origin story with Omega Red would be really interesting. Then lastly, I'm going to throw out X-23. X-23 is created by the same kind of secret operation, the Weapon X program that created Wolverine. But it's a young girl, and she's got 2 claws, and then she has claws that come out of her feet, which is really interesting. And it's basically her also trying to figure out why was she made this way. Maybe she starts out kind of brainwashed by Weapon X and eventually realizes what they're doing and turns, and she's being hunted, by these secret agents trying to be taken back by the Weapon X program, and maybe eventually finds the X-Men or eventually finds Wolverine, someone, that could help her out. And she could be introduced in the Wolverine standalone movie, depending if they go the route of, still trying to figure out Weapon X, why they did to him what they did, and maybe she is one of their soldiers. Kind of like how they did Lady Deathstrike in X2. She could be like a henchman, kind of like that eventually realizes there's something else going on. So that was quick. Those are my 5 that could make really interesting movies, but this is about you and your ideas. So I want to see in the comments, what heroes do you want to see? Do you want to see spin-off origin movies? Do you want to see spin-off team movies? Do you really want that X-Force movie to finally come to fruition? Because that's what I want. Do you want to see more time travel movies? What do you want to see from the X-Men cinematic universe? Do you want to see TV shows? Do you want to see movies? What do you want? I expect these comments to fill up with really cool ideas. So that is it for today. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you next time.